believe that we were given this life for a purpose, right? Like I don't believe that there was anybody that was given life to live for themselves, right? I believe that life was given to man to achieve a purpose, right? Which is part of God's, grand plan.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is thought-provoking. Is my YouTube channel Prince?
It's fine.
My name is thought-provoking and I'm a 5th year medical student. And I'm a God sent by God to help to shine your light. And with me here is
Praise Ogunleke.
From
where? Like I'm a child of God, sent to this earth to be an extension of God's kingdom.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Praise is actually my friend. He's a 4th year medical student.
I don't. Okay.
Forgive our shenanigans. So Praise is a man of God. His friends call him P Nation. Is, oh my God, if you know Praise.
By the way, guys, before you continue, I'm a child of God. I feel like the title man was going to say like
child. No.
Like for now, I'm a child of God. Let's feel that.
No, I feel
like
is
a lot.
Is it really? No. Like okay, last year I used to call myself a child of God because of course I'm a child. Mm-hmm. But this year I had to change it to like son of God because I mean I'm way past the baby stage. I can't keep saying I'm a child. No, that's the truth. I can't keep saying that I'm a child. But this year I came to realize that I actually have to like do the work of a son, right? So yes, I'm a son of God. I don't know whether I'm still a child.
Of course, I'm not. I'm something. So I think that's
so Praise is a visionary. He does so many things. I will call him a social impact leader. You actually need to Google this man. This man needs more money. So Praise is going to be talking to us today about living a life beyond yourself, what it means, why should you do that, and I'll be asking him a couple of questions. But before then, Praise, can we meet you?
Hi guys, first of all, to be honest, I'm shy. I'm shy. I don't know how to feel. My name is Praise Ogunleke. I'm honestly very excited to be here, and I want to actually my friend, the mom Drew Jai, for the opportunity to share this platform with you. My name is Praise Ogunleke, like I said, and my work is centered around helping people, particularly youth, to first of all identify, second of all refine, and then to deploy their potential. Yeah, so that's basically the core of my work. Everything that I do, like capacity building events, working on the magazine, creating platforms for people to get access to opportunities, everything is just to help people to either identify, refine, and deploy their potential. Yeah, I want to see a world where everybody's able to maximize their diverse potential.
Okay. Yeah. And that's really good, and I really admire that part of you, just living a life that is more than you, that is beyond you. So what would you define living a life beyond yourself as?
First of all, I feel like when we talk about like living, I believe that when God, I mean we're created by God, right? So I believe that we were given this life for a purpose, right? Like I don't believe that there's anybody that was given life to live for themselves, right? I believe that life was given to man to achieve a purpose, right? Which is part of God's grand plan. So so everybody has a role to play in that grand plan that God has, right? So God has created everybody with an intent in mind. He created everybody with a purpose in mind. He created everybody to do something, right? I mean, even the Bible says that he gave some prophets, some pastors, some for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry and all of that. So if you look at that, it means that everybody was created to achieve something that is bigger than themselves, right? So I would say that life in itself is meant to be lived for others, yes, right? But like I said, everything is still part of God's grand plan, right? So if I would say existence is when you're living for yourself,
okay,
right? So living is when you are living for others.
That's deep.
So if you're not living for others, then you're existing, no matter what you're doing. So
and from what you said now, I would pick that just existing is not God's plan for us.
It's not.
So we're supposed to like live, and this living means that we're supposed to like live beyond ourselves and also like live for others. Right?
That's right.
And I actually say that like that's what I've seen you do over the years, right? I want to ask, has there been any part like or any point in time where you have to struggle between choosing your personal ambition and doing like something for others, like selfless stuff?
I believe strongly that it's very good to be ambitious, right? But to be very honest, I think that in trying to be ambitious, we must be careful to not be too overly engrossed in our ambitions that we forget that God has a purpose for our lives, right? Now, what I'm trying to say is that any ambition that does not fit into God's plans for our lives is at the end of the day doesn't count. It's not relevant. And I like to use this illustration. So, for example, if you are in the example and you have like questions, you have chemistry questions. The first question is what is chemistry. Second one is tell like importance of chemistry, right? And then when you're answering the question, you're answering what is physics, importance of physics. Maybe I should use something more medically related. So let's say you're talking about brachial plexus, right? Brachial plexus, right? But instead of talking about brachial plexus, you're talking about cubital force, and you're seeing a lot of things. Like you're so ambitious, like you're so passionate about it's at the end of the day, it's not about like it's more about the relevance of the ambition. So if the ambition is it relevant in the sense that is it captured in God's plans, in God's purposes for one's life, right? So the question that you asked about, and then in part a time where what I try to do is that as much as possible because it's very possible, especially because the kind of world that we live now, it's very possible that you begin to manufacture things like by yourself and for yourself, right? Because of what you see around you, because of what you see on social media. So you want to do this not necessarily because you have a purpose for it, right? But because you just feel like like you too want to do this, right? So I've had honestly, I've also had times where I feel like I want to do this, but God has really been helpful because at every point in time, and that's why we have like the Holy Spirit to guide us, direct us. At every point in time, God has always like guided my steps. Sometimes sometimes it's just like people around me that just like bring my attention to some of this that do you want to check this, do you want to check that, just so that it's just God's way of trying to protect me from doing what is not relevant at the end of the day. So I've had situations like that, and I realized that for times that I just went ahead with the ambition and all of that, it didn't end well there. So relevance at the end of the day, relevance supersedes anything. Relevance got purpose and plans for most likely.
So if there's anybody watching this video now and if they want to start living like beyond themselves, like they want to start living a life that's beyond themselves, what are the things that you think that they can start doing, even like in the smallest of ways?
Okay, so for anybody that is watching this video that wants to start living beyond themselves, because I'll say that first of all, I believe that every man was created by God, right? And if you really want to know yourself, then you have to first of all like understand your identity, right? I'd like to give an example. So if you have a cup, right? It's a container. So you understand that like this is a cup. You're able to identify it first, right? And then when you're able to identify it, that's when you're able to say, this is a container. It's supposed to hold content, right? So what I'm saying is that before you can know, like understand your purpose, you have to really understand your identity. Like what has God called you? What has God called you? You are made in the image of God. You have to start seeing yourself in that light. And to be honest, it takes transformation. Let me be like that. It's not like always instant. Many times it's not always instant. So, and that's why the Bible says that we are transformed by continuous renewal of our minds. So what I'm saying is that as we continue to renew our minds with what God has said about us, so that renewal is not just an instant process. It's something that happens over a period of time. So as we continue to do that, that is when we begin to see ourselves, right? We begin to see ourselves in the way that God sees us, right? Another thing I would say is that the more we build Jesus, the more we become like Him, and the more of us, the more of we see ourselves more like it's just like our understanding, our character about ourselves, about our lives gets clearer, the more we see God. So the focus, what I would say for anybody that feels like, is just like focus on God, right? The more you see God, the more of yourself you begin to see.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah, the basic thing is to know yourself in God. Not just to know yourself as far I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert, like what has God said about you?
Yeah.
And the more like you open up yourself to His word, you begin to see your assignment inside. Like from what you said at the beginning, we have different assignments, right? But at the end of the day, it all culminates into one purpose, that is of course the reconciliation of men unto God. But like God likes variety. He does it in like diverse ways. Some people, He does it through outreaches, like them reaching out to the poor. Some people, they have to like preach on the stage, like as per pastors and ministers. And there's some people that is through their songs, right? At the end of the day, you have to find God for yourself, and that is how you know like how to like live a life beyond yourself. When it comes to the society, I would like to say that the society does not get it, right? They don't understand why we do these things. So has there been any situation where the society discouraged you from walking in purpose and living a life that's beyond yourself?
Yes, I mean many times, right? Many times. And I would like to say this first of all, that the ways of God are not the ways of the world. Trust me, many times when the society is moving in a particular direction, if you move in the opposite direction, you will almost always be correct, right? Because the ways of God, like I said, are not the ways of the world, and the foolishness of God is wiser than the wisdom of man. That's the truth, right? So I just wanted to establish that first of all, that we don't use the society, we don't use what the society believes as metrics to form our own convictions, to evaluate our own progress. We don't use the society. We use God's method, right? We use God's method. So there have been times where I felt like, number one, when you even do stuff, right? God gives you an instruction and then you do it. And then the people that you do it for are not necessarily grateful. They're not like,
that's the pain. It's usually very painful.
But
like you just have to remind yourself that I didn't do it for your thank you. Because you are like, of course, you are spirit, soul, and body. Your body wants that thank you. Your soul wants that thank you. But you have to treat treat your spirit man that, see, I owe this thing to God, not you. I've done it for you, right? And of course you are better for it. But my return, like I'm going to report to God. I'm not. It's hard though.
It's not easy.
It's very hard.
You know the interesting thing? Many times I feel like, okay, when God, and that's why you just have to say to you that God has actually done something. So it's God I am matter, you don't have any, because the thing is, many times when God asks you, gives you an instruction, and many times his instruction is usually channeled towards benefiting people right around you and all of that. So when you do those kind of things, there's a way that as a human being, like you said, we're spirit, soul, and body. So as a human being, your flesh wants some gratitude. Even if you don't want the gratitude, at least you want I used to say that the minimum that you should that should be given to anybody that does stuff to you is just respect. Like just respect the person. Like nothing big. Like you don't even.
You won't tell me thank you.
Yes, just like respect the person.
I'm your life, guy.
But you find that sometimes some of these people, they even like do things that don't really like hurt you or get you, a lot of things like that. So to be honest, there have been times like that, right? But like I said, it's when you see it from the perspective of you were sent by God to a kind of people, right? To some people, you're not expecting the rewards from those people,
them,
right? You respect the rewards from God. So there have been times like that where like society kind of like wanted to change my mind. So, yeah.
So if you have to advise your younger self on any topic, what would you tell
my younger self? What I'll tell my younger self? There are a couple of things actually I'll tell my younger self. Okay, I think I'll tell my younger self that he should pay attention to most important things of life, like things that have a very long lifespan, right? So for example, when I was younger, I used to play ball. I used to play football. I loved football. Jesus, I was addicted to then.
Are you serious?
People not believe it.
Yeah, people not believe it.
But really, I was a football player. I used to dribble. You know, anytime you dribble and then people shout your name. I had one nickname, I'm not telling you. So people give you like, oh, this guy. Then let me just sorry.
Just now.
So then by secondary school, so we had to pass it. So we used to play against each other throughout the term. So imagine we're playing, like I was in A and then we play against B, and then sometimes we're beating them, sometimes maybe like 10-0 and all of that. We don't know what I would do. I'm not going to join the other team. Do you get, like, I would leave my team, the winning team, I'm going to join the other team. So anytime I was just go my friends, I think I'll join that. They used to feel sad because they just see that, and the other team, they'll be very excited that yes, like this guy is coming, and trust me, more often than not, we used to, you know.
Because you're the star of the show.
At least I was good. I should not lie. I was so. What's the question? Okay, what I'll tell my younger self. Yeah, I'll tell my younger self to pay attention to things that have a very long lifespan. Right. What I mean is things that are impactful and things that are impactful and relevant in the long term. Right. And what is that? To be honest, living for God. Right. You know, feeling God's purpose. Right? It counts now and thereafter. It counts. It's irrelevant. So I'll tell my younger self to do that. Then I'll tell my younger self to also not be limited by his environment. You know, there was a time at the point in my life I felt like, you know, I could not do certain things. So because of like my environment, what I was exposed to and all of that. So it kind of like affected my self-esteem and all of that. So I'll tell my younger self to not like accept the limitations of his environment, because I mean it's always possible to thrive beyond the limitations of the environment. So yeah, I think.
Yeah. So what are the values that you have that have helped you to like keep like continuing this path of living beyond yourself?
The values that I have, number one is service, right? By service I mean like genuine service. It's one value that has sustained me up to now, because like at this point, I mean, I really thank God for my journey and all of that. So there are times that, like even now, maybe I'm volunteering somewhere, I'm doing something somewhere, people expect that, oh, I don't do certain things, you know. I mean, phrase, you know, that kind of thing. But I just feel like I've been called to serve. Right? So it's difficult for me to say anything as, you know, oh, this thing is not for people like us, that kind of thing. Yeah. And because the thing is that when you adopt that mindset that, oh, certain things are for certain people, it gets to the point where you are not invested in the process anymore. So you begin to decline, right, in your garnering of experience, exposure. And the thing about life is that, I mean, everything that is happening right now is going to be relevant in the next phase, or in the next phase of your life. So, for example, when medical school, you're doing anatomy now, it's going to be, even when you get to part, they'll still like ask you and all of that. You get. So, if you are now, because of, or you feel like these things for this kind of people, you will not, you'll be doing yourself more harm than good, right? Because you feel like it's not for you. Whereas you're supposed to be invested in the process. You're supposed to keep learning, you know, what you're supposed to learn. And that has also like rippled across how I see platforms. I don't see any platform as too big or too small, right? I don't see any platform as, oh, this is not, you know,
it's not that important.
It's not that important. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess
I don't see it that way. I feel like every platform, as long as, yes, every platform counts, as long as it is, I feel that, you know, I'm convicted, right? That I'm yes, exactly. I'm supposed to care and all of that. So every platform is important. So I would say genuine service. Secondly, I like to say something. I say that the life of engineering is pleasure deferred, right? So to just summarize that, I would say that delayed gratification. JD is somebody I respect a lot. Some call it an apostle J. Stanger and David. He says something. He says delayed gratification is intelligent patience. Yeah, and that's very true. Like when people delay gratification, it might look like they are not smart,
They
or
don't know
they don't know what they're doing, but they're actually the wise ones. Yeah, they're actually the wise ones. So I would say delaying gratification, because if you're very you're very big on getting immediate rewards and all that, you
get carried away.
In fact, you can't be sustained on the journey, because a lot of things that from what I've seen and what I've learned, even from people that I learned from and all that, I realized that on this journey you have to delay gratification. You have to delay gratification in terms of many things. I might not be able to go into details, but there have been things that I knew that if there were options, and I knew that if I should go for this option, I would be boring. Do you get do you get that kind of thing? But no,
that's not the path.
That's not the path. That's not the goal. The goal is not to ball, right? The goal is not to ball. The goal is to serve God's purposes at the end of the day. So that is going to cost you some things, right? That's going to, also going to demand a level of consecration, from you as well. So because you just have to delay gratification. Yeah. So I think those are some of the things that so saying. Maybe the last thing. I'm saying.
Yeah, you should continue.
Okay. So maybe the last thing is I don't know how exactly to, but I call something relational wealth, being intentional about relationships.
Yes, boy.
I believe strongly
you
that
need to do another video on relationships. No, we need to start because you do this thing too well. But yeah, let's just continue. So
wait, okay, let me quickly actually say something about that. So when people say, prayer, you're very intentional about relationship and all of that, there's a prayer I like to pray. May God give us perspective. Yeah. When God gives you, the reason why people don't take certain things seriously is not because they don't want to. See, you can't try to do something. God must register it, and he must instill a perspective into you for you to be able to do some things. And when you begin to do those things, it's now organic, right? Because you have a perspective, and it's just so it's flowing, it's natural, it's from the inside out, right? What I've come to find on this journey is that if you don't take relationships seriously, trust me, there is no what's called. It's because you've not found what's bigger than you. That's just it. It's because you've not found what is bigger than you. Now, everybody has excuses. People say, I'm shy, I'm introverted, I'm busy, I don't need people. It's because you've not found something that is bigger than you. When you find what is bigger than you, you see that relationships, oh my God, so critical. In fact, the reason why God had to send Jesus Christ, to the world, was so that he could redeem mankind, man back to God. Right, so that the relationship that we had with him could be restored. Right, so everything rises and falls on relationships. Yes, so I would say that being intentional about relationship, because when you start your journey, especially when you're in the embryonic stage, you see that you might not have the resources, especially in terms of maybe financials and all that, to do certain things. But when God would have placed a relationship around your path, so it's your duty to invest in those relationships, identify those relationships, then invest in those relationships. Let's just
we'll do a full-blown course or video on relationships in the future. Thank you so much. I have learned a lot. This has been an eye-opener on so many people, and I hope that it has opened your eyes to right. But I have just one question. I know you might not have seen this coming, but what's your plan? Right? You're a medical student, yes. So what's your plan to live beyond yourself? Even as a doctor, when you become one, what's the bigger picture? What does it look like? What should we be expecting?
To be honest, the Bible says that be anxious for nothing, but with prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, make your request known unto God. So what I've come to find about my journey is that I don't need to worry about anything, and that's the truth. I found rest. I found comfort in knowing that God has designed the calendar of my life. Yeah, so the calendar of medical school or the calendar of my profession, all of that is going to fit into God's own calendar of my life, right? So I don't really worry myself about how am I supposed to fit this into this. I have one life. It is just one life. Medicine is an expression of that life. It is not all that there is to me. I am very certain. Medicine is not all that there is to me. So, to be very honest, my plan is to keep following God's direction at every point. I'm not trying to figure out, how am I going to do it in the next 5 years? I'm not trying to figure that out, right? Like I said, if God has designed my calendar, which He already has, then everything will definitely work together for my good, and everything will work in alignment to like me fulfilling God's purposes for my life. That's the truth. So I'm not trying to have a plan, when I get there, I'll do this, that kind of thing. No, what has sustained me up to this point is at every point, just following God's promptings, God's instructions. I don't need to figure out what's going to happen next 5 years, but what's the next thing, right? And God gives you direction, and that's why the journey of faith, because you don't have all the clarity. I don't have all the clarity, right? What I need, the information that I need now, the clarity that I need now, is just what God is, and at every point, God is going to give that. So that's the plan. Really.
Thank you so much. And before we go, what are your last words to anybody watching this right now?
Okay, so my final words to anybody watching this right now is, at the end of the day, many things don't count. Many things don't count. Because of the profession that I'm privileged to be in, I've been privileged to see people at their most vulnerable states, and I've come to find that many things don't count. You trying to outpace somebody, you trying to impress people, you trying to do things because they're training or they are acceptable. Those things, many of those things, they don't count at the end of the day. So I'll say, what counts? Just a few things that comes to mind. Number one is the relationship that man has with God, and how man looks at that relationship into understanding himself better, having more clarity, and also using that relationship to facilitate the fulfillment of God's purposes for his life. Number two is the relationships with people that matter to you. People that matter to you as a person, like me, your family, your siblings, people that matter to you as a person. It's very important to build intentional relationships with them, create memories with them, and people that matter to your calling too, right? I mean, as men, we are usually sent to like different audiences. So some people, like, their calling, the youth is more predominant, right? I mean, for some people the elderly is more predominant, like when it comes like audience and they sent to and all that. For some people it's teenagers and all that. So people that matter to you as a calling, the relationship that you're able to build with them as well, the memories you're able to create together, those things are very important. Okay? And then lastly, living a life of service and impact. But relevance, right? Relevance of work is more important, right? So living a life of service and impact, and the documentation of that impact for generations to come. Imagine the Bible was not documented.
I know, right? There's this movie I watched that tries to like The Chosen. I don't know watch movies, but it shows. It just shows like how things happen in those times. Of course, they try. It's not like exact. I mean, they were not there, and it's just beautiful. Like they were showing how Matthew was writing stuff that was happening. I'm like, wow. Wow. I was just writing stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. It is an honor. I'm just really grateful. And everybody watching this video, you want to check out Praise Ogunleke on YouTube. There's a YouTube. Yes, he has a YouTube channel. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So yes, and ChatGPT. ChatGPT will tell you so much about this guy. So yeah. Also, subscribe to this channel, leave comments, guys. Let's know what you have learned, and just let us know. And also just share this video. Till the next video, say bye.
Bye.